Good afternoon, everyone. Romney Smith at WTOC for the News Now. Thank you so much for tuning in and giving us just a few minutes of your time to get updated on local, regional, and national stories that we're following. We're on various platforms right now. That includes our website, WTOC.com, the WTOC apps, Amazon Fire, Roku, Twitter, Facebook, lots of places to reach us. But I want to highlight Facebook. That's where you can actually interact with us live. Leave a comment, say hey, like so many of you already, like Frank Jenkins, Susie Cooper, Olivia Sills, and Van Brackle. I see all of your emojis. We thank you so much. Keep in mind, if you have any questions, feel free to ask it on Facebook. I'll do my best to answer it live. If I can't, for whatever reason, no worries. I'll go back in the comment section afterward to give you a link to get you a little bit closer to the answer that you're looking for. Okay, so we're starting with a sad update. International Paper had to call in emergency rescuers after a platform collapsed, trapping an employee. A boiler platform collapsed as a demolition crew was working to cut through pipes and remove it. Well, a man working a manlift, was trapped beneath the wreckage during the collapse. Unfortunately, within the last hour, we just learned that he died. Right now, the Chatham County Police and the International Paper's emergency response teams are working with engineers to determine the safest method to recover the victim. We do not know the man's name. I know we just saw a question on Facebook from Cynthia Walker. Has the name been released? Not at this time. The man's family has to be notified first before International Paper or the police are allowed to release it to the public. However, as soon as we learn more, we will let you know. I already see comments on Facebook saying this is so sad. Indeed, for those of you who just joined us, a platform collapsed at International Paper and one employee was killed. It is under investigation right now. OSHA has also been called in, but right now engineers, police, and the emergency response team at International Paper all working together to figure out how to get that victim who died under the collapse safely removed. Switching gears, Savannah police are still investigating after a dead body was found in a car parking lot last night. Officers got the call around 8 p.m. Investigators aren't sure how long the body was in the car, but says it's very clear it was a while because the body had already started to decompose. That body will be sent to the Georgia Bureau of Investigation for identification and a full autopsy. We will keep you updated as soon as we learn more about the person who was inside that vehicle. Well, the big news today, right now in South Carolina and all across the low country, lots of people headed to the polls to cast a ballot in the state primary elections. In fact, there are several polling changes in Beaufort County that you should know about just in case you haven't voted already. WTOC's Zach Logan has more.
Yeah, and if you plan to come out and vote today, make sure you double check your polling location. One by one, voters went inside the Bluffton Branch Library to cast their ballots in today's state primaries. Many Beaufort County voters are having to adjust to new polling places. Here's a look at the new permanent locations, primarily on Hilton Head Island. Lord of Life Lutheran Church for Bluffton precincts 4A, 5A, and 5B. Those voting under precinct Hilton Head 5C will now head to the Plantation House. The Hilton Head 6 precinct is the Port Royal Golf and Racquet Club, and those assigned to Hilton Head precinct 13 will go to Seabrook. Due to some building renovations, some polling places have changed temporarily. Take a look. Precincts Burton 1C and 1D will go to Bethel Word and Worship. St. Helena 2C will vote today at Fripp Island Community Center's chapel. Bluffton 3 voters will vote at the Bluffton Library. The Ladies Island 2A precinct has moved to the mobile units outside of Coosa Elementary. And Chichessie 2 voters will now vote at the Ruth M. Fields Medical Center. I spoke to one voter today who says she had no trouble finding her appropriate polling place. This first-time South Carolina voter says she double-checked online.
Well, I moved from a blue state, so my vote, I feel, is more important down here. I'm probably going to be on the losing side, but it motivates me to get out.
Also, make sure that you have a valid picture ID, whether that be a state-issued driver's license, a passport, or a military ID. Reporting in Bluffton, Zach Logan, WTOC News.
And we have team coverage for you in the South Carolina election. Our team of reporters and anchors are sticking with the big races like the race for governor, Secretary of State, Beaufort County Sheriff, Beaufort City Council, and more. You can expect digital updates starting tonight at 7:30 p.m. Again, I want to go back to that news that we had off the very top because some of you guys joined in late and I see lots of questions on Facebook right now. So we started off talking about a collapse that happened at International Paper in Savannah, Georgia. A platform collapsed, trapping an employee, specifically a boiler platform. A demolition crew was hard at work cutting through pipes to remove it, and a guy in a manned forklift was trapped beneath the wreckage during the collapse. Unfortunately, within the past 45 minutes, we learned that employee died. Right now, the Chatham County Police and International Paper's emergency response team are both working with engineers to figure out the safest method to recover the victim. We do not know the man's identity at this time. His family has to be notified first before his identity will be released to the public. Again, this happening at International Paper in Savannah. A man working a forklift was trapped beneath the wreckage during the collapse after some demolition was being done this morning. So we will stay on top of that story and give you any updates as soon as they become available. Well, going over to Metter now, a marathon-long meeting ended with a working plan for services in Metter and Candler County. The mayor and city council met with county commissioners for 14 hours yesterday in mediation to reach a funding agreement for shared delivery services. That meeting wrapped up after midnight. The agreement spells out which side will fund certain government services to cover city and county and how the other governments will pay for its citizen share. The plan takes into account the population division between the city and the county.
It was extremely important to bring this to a close of the negotiations.
The county and the city both need to move forward instead of spending so much time on SDS to where we can move forward.
The city and county both tried to reach last-minute deals before mediation, but that didn't work. Darrell Kennedy was out there all day yesterday waiting for the answers of what they were going to come out with. We had that story on our website, WTOC.com. Well, switching gears to the weather now. It's warm and it's rainy, a trend that we've seen for quite a few days in a row. Sounds like summer in the South to me. Taking a look now at my iPad, I have the WTOC Twitter account pulled up. It is raining downtown. We are actually off of Chatham Parkway, and I can hear the rain outside right now. Also, they're saying take a live look at the First Alert weather app, so that's what I'm going to do right now, just to give you guys a closer look at exactly where the storms are. You can see from here, there's lightning in the area. There it is, starting to populate, and if I zoom in, you can clearly see that the downtown Savannah area, Thunderbolt, Tybee, Hilton Head, Bluffton, all getting rain right now, as well as parts of Port Wentworth and Garden City. So your area seeing medium to heavy downpours at this time. We'll have another update for you on weather at 3 o'clock. I always tell you guys, if you have questions, weigh in on Facebook. I'm seeing Diane Davis saying hugs and prayers for the family. That's in reference to the man that died this morning at International Paper. There was a demolition crew doing some work, and he was in a forklift and was underneath something. It collapsed on top of him, and unfortunately he died. There are crews right now working with engineers trying to figure out the best way to recover his body. We do not know the person's name at this time because the family needs to be notified first, which of course is appropriate and the law before the media gets notified of that person's identity. As soon as we learn it, we will pass along to you. Certainly an unfortunate situation that is happening right now. I'm getting another question saying, Susan Prince wants to know which way is the rain headed. Well, I'm not a meteorologist, but luckily for me, on the WTOC First Weather app, you can actually click Future, which I'm going to do right now, and click Play. So it looks like it's traveling through Savannah and then going to be heading up into the South Carolina area. Again, I'm no expert, but I kind of feel like I am due to our handy-dandy app. I highly suggest all of you get it. By the way, it's free for iPhone and Android, so I hope that helps you out. It will be moving through Savannah up into the low country as of right now. So just one of the many reasons why you should check out our app. All right, I don't see any other questions right now. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. I certainly appreciate it. Oh, wow, we have a comment here from Stephanie Brady saying, my dad died at International Paper waiting in line to be loaded back in 2011. So sorry to hear that. A lot of you guys saying you're tuning in for the boiler incident specifically to get more details. We have given you all of the information we know right now. Again, it happened at International Paper in Savannah this morning. One person was trapped after a platform collapsed, and then that person was later pronounced dead. Right now, the International Paper Emergency Response Team, as well as police, are working with engineers to figure out the safest way to recover the body and then alert that person's family. As soon as we learn the name of the victim, we will let you know. All right, we have another comment saying prayers for the crew. This man was one of my coworkers that coming in from Willie Kersey Jr. So sorry for your loss. We're sure that this is not an easy day for you. We have more stories coming up for you at 3 p.m., including more detailed look at the weather. So we'll be back on various platforms. Until then, if you have any questions, you can always stay in the loop with news at WTOC.com.